My name is Lauren. I'm a canoe paddler from Hawaii. YETI had this awesome film tour, but it got canceled due to this big global issue that we're all dealing with. But guess what? YETI is releasing those 7 films, and our film, Lean Against the Wind, is one of them. And I hope that you guys enjoy it, and the other ones, I know you will. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll all be back in the wild soon. Aloha. You know, it's 32 miles, but it's not an easy 32 miles. Now I feel like I know my distances and I kind of know the pain that's gonna come with the distance. And you kind of just almost embrace it and like push through it on a good day. On a bad day, you just gotta like suck it up and get it done and tell yourself, it's only for today. Today is so short, it's almost over. And shut up and paddle. There's so many different bumps in a channel, and everyone kind of, you gotta all pick your own path.
Hawaii's kind of old school in a way, right? Where you let your actions do your talking for you. You can do it by surfing, or you can do it by paddling canoes. The Molokai to Oahu, crossing the Ki'iwi Channel, was established by a couple of crews, 6-man canoes, emulating what Hawaiian warriors would have done to get from one island to the other.
Well, the Molokai Channel, they still consider it the World Championship. It's not the biggest race in the world, but I think it's one of the toughest. You have the whole Pacific Ocean funneling in with the wind in between these 2 islands. So you have current and conditions, and you have tides sometimes going against you, waves behind you, stacking up 4 different directions. So they call it 40.8, but you're all over the ocean. So if you take a GPS on that, you got 45 miles probably.
That is where you test yourself. That is where your mettle is hardened, right? It's the Mount Everest of canoe racing, right? It's our Super Bowl. And so when you prove yourself there, you have proven yourself, period. And Lauren has proven herself so many times.
As a paddler, she's kind of a freak. And if there's surf, I mean, look out.
She's won the Molokai 12 out of 13 times. I mean, that's just crazy.
She scares most of the guys on Maui.
The first time that she did the Molokai Channel, she beat that record by 15 minutes.
She's also a member of one of the most successful women's outrigger canoe teams ever. You have to put her in that elite of the most elite class of athletes, irregardless of what the sport is.
I throw like the big trophies up above there just because I guess you need clutter above in your kitchen. Coming from Hawaii and growing up in our water, like, you know, we're in the middle of the ocean, right? And we have some of the most crazy channels and like we're known for trade winds. You grow up learning to run with these waves. I guess we just don't feel special. We're just like, this is what we do and we're just regular.
It's hard to put into words the mentality that is set being the son or daughter of someone like Mike Spalding, right?
Growing up with Mike for a father, there were certain things you didn't have a choice in.
Starting, I think, from the age of 9, we would paddle from like, you know, Maui and canoe sail around Lanai. And sometimes, you know, you're blessed with wind, but when you're not blessed with wind, your only mode of getting there is paddling.
They go, oh yeah, you Spalding? Is Lauren your daughter? Yeah. The first time I remember her doing something radical was when she was 3. And I dragged her along on a trip to Lanai on a 3-man canoe. I should have never done this. I mean, I'm sure it was a told you so moment, but we got about a mile offshore and the winds came in, the north winds started blowing, and we swamped. And as you know, swamping a canoe isn't a great thing.
That was her introduction to what her life was going to be like.
And my job was to hold the paddles.
Yeah, to stop you from screaming. We had our lucky stars.
Oh yeah.
This was the first sort of water vessel that we started to play with, you know, back in the 70s. This canoe has been a lot of places that it normally wouldn't go just because we pushed the envelope a little bit with it.
Mike Spaulding he's essentially legendary.
I mean, the stuff that he does is crazy, you know? You'd have to be crazy to do it.
He's well known for swimming all the channels, right?
He has done every channel in the Hawaiian island chain.
I think all those channels he did in his 60s.
Everybody's got a story.
He's the only living human that has been bitten by the cookie cutter shark.
I don't know if you can see it, but cookie cutter shark got me there.
Just imagine a baseball chunk of meat taken out of your calf.
They're just notorious for bad things happening.
Chances are taken if you're sloppy and if you're not prepared.
I remember thinking sometimes, like, we're never gonna make it. It's so far. Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
We carry the EPIR, we carry the handheld radio.
If you're going to go on a trip with Mike, you better be able to save yourself.
You know, we have spare paddles, we have spare pumps.
He purposely doesn't bring things.
Sometimes he'll go off and he doesn't necessarily check his equipment.
We would never have an escort boat, and you know, we didn't even have a cooler.
And so fish would sit at the bottom of the boat. But you know, when you paddle for like 8 hours, you're so hungry.
I would never risk my kids or anybody in an unsafe situation.
I've almost died on Mike Spaulding trips.
And then I hear one day that they almost kill Eddie Vedder and his girlfriend.
They mutinied on me.
My dad decided that it would be a good idea to paddle at night.
And within about 45 minutes, his steering blade breaks.
Now, nobody knows we're out there. There's no GPS, there's no EPIR, and you know, next stop is Australia.
That was one of the heaviest 12 hours of paddling in my life.
We'd go out and just do the most radical stuff and come back and everybody's smiling. And
Psychological training or damage, either one.
Lauren, growing up with her dad being as crazy as he is, those kind of things gave her mileage and ocean knowledge and toughness.
So many of the barriers that we deal with in life are just a matter of our perspective and what we view as too much.
I didn't really realize how much he prepared me until I think I was training for the Olympics. This is the Olympic team trials for the K4. And that's Kathy, Carrie, me, and Marie. I felt like a passion for paddling, and I was like, gosh, I want to try to go for it to the highest level that I possibly can. And I had no idea how I was going to do it. I just was like, I'm going to just go for it. It was 2003. It was the year before the Olympics.
OC1 is not an Olympic category, and so she got into flat water kayaking.
so she paddled for 6 months. She trained as hard as she could for 6 months, and so she went up for the Olympic trials. Now, the Olympic trials is the best women, and they've been paddling together for 6 years.
Just kind of rolled up at these trials where everyone looked at her and was just like, who is this girl?
She's like, you know, out of towner, you know, she's just gonna wasting her time over here.
These girls were like, oh, you've only been paddling for 6 months? Oh, that's like, well, what are you going to do when you don't make the team? I was like, no, that's not in my game plan, you know.
And it's hard, and it's hard, and it's hard, it's hard.
And she went on to make the Olympic team, and she would, you know, she'd fly back and forth to the training camp.
And Ha'ena was about my son. He was probably like 4 or 5 at that point. I don't think anyone had kids, and I was like, hey, I got a 4-year-old at home. It got to the point where I was going to training camps where I would almost be like crying in the line, like leaving Ha'ena and leaving Hawaii. You have bumps and you have struggles, and you're gonna have to, like, and everyone is, you're gonna have to deal with it. And 18, 19 is really young to be a parent. I was like, this kid is just gonna be along for the ride, and he totally was.
When someone like Lauren has been able to stay competitive through having children, mortgages, all these things that life throws at you as you grow and you mature, the fact that she's been able to maintain that is phenomenal.
Sometimes if you can just like break down that bump in front of you and like just put 110% effort in getting over that one, it'll open the door. You know, I tell my kids this all the time too. It's no matter what, you're gonna wind up in situations that you're gonna not wanna be in, but you're gonna have to face it and deal with it.
It's not like if you're just going on a country drive, you don't need everybody in the car to be, you know, really, that one was Ileo where you're really sharp, but on the canoe, because it's so critical, you gotta have somebody, if they're bailing, they gotta bail with their whole heart. To get a sore shoulder, you just keep bailing, doesn't matter. It's like, that's your job.
Yeah, I think you can apply it to all aspects of your life, but really trusting and believing in your team. And it's amazing, that kind of mentality, when you get everybody working together and trusting and believing, the boat does run so much better. And know that it's all gonna work out.
Yeah, he said he's born with a deformed scrotum, so he used that part of his ball sack to fix his shark bite, you know? I can't believe I believe that.
All right, I think we're live. All right. Hello, this is Geoff Rowley, pro skateboarder, hunting guide, and knife manufacturer. I'd like to introduce you to a short film that I made with a good friend of mine. It's my story, untold. The movie is called Finding Ground, and it was directed by Greg Hunt at Farm League. Go watch it. Yeah.
So if you're quieting down, slow everything down, post up, the world just moves and comes alive if you're patient enough. But you have to put the time in, or you won't see any of it. When I was 18 years old, I had a map. And that map had all the skate spots marked on it in Southern California that I knew. And days that I had free, I would go to particular areas and I would scout them. I would cover all of the quadrants and go, okay, that's covered, there's nothing there, move on to the next part. And lo and behold, I'm doing that all day long right now. So it's no different. Except, you know, you're looking for different patterns when you're looking for animals versus skate spots. But I found this spot when I was coming back from scouting for desert sheep about 10 weeks ago. These banks are weird. You can see this one, the way it kind of curves that way, then comes this way, and then goes around the corner and then whips around like Rick and Morrissey's haircut. Just give it a shot. See what happens. See if I can get his legs to move. I've been skateboarding since I was about 12 or 13 years old. I grew up in Liverpool, England, which is a pretty industrial city and an old port. When I first started to ride, the first things we started to do is go into the city. And I'd skate down through the high street, finding stuff to skate, you know, because I'd never explored the city center of Liverpool on a board. It's an old city, so a lot of the sidewalks were ancient. So finding just a small, smooth area to skate, you know, was difficult. But it made me who I am. I moved to the United States when I was 18 years old. And I've spent the last 25 years living in the United States, being a professional skateboarder. You know, for the first 6 months, I didn't really know where that was going to go. Skateboarding was dead then. And then it slowly picked up. And then it picked up quicker, and then quicker. Skateboarding blew up. It is pretty crazy to be in the middle of that. To do the thing that I wanted to do as a kid, I get to pursue my dreams. I'm a professional skateboarder. That's rad. I spend a lot of time searching, looking for architecture, looking for things that people haven't skated before, but more importantly, looking for things that push my skating. Come off the highest point right here, so I'm gonna try and hit the bank as straight as I can. That way I go as high as I can. But you have to search for it, you know, and it's a challenge. Just like it's a challenge to find the biggest animal in a mountain range. It's a challenge, that's it. For the 25 years that I was skating predominantly and the outdoor stuff was secondary, I was thinking about it all the time. All right. Let's get this going. I've always been inspired, motivated, and a huge fan of the outdoors and tracking and trailing wild animals and the pursuit of wild animals. I've always loved it since I was a kid. Looks pretty good. I'm 43 years old and I've given my body to skateboarding. And I'm fine with that. You know, that's what I do. But I hit a point where, you know, I was in my late 30s and I couldn't recover from injuries. I needed something that was more physical, something that worked my cardio, my lung capacity, but also in a way that built strength that I needed. And I found a formula that works for me. Made a conscious decision to just really start going at the outdoors and using this as my physical training ground. It was slow and steady, but as you build up your stamina, all of a sudden I was going skating. And I was done skating and I wasn't tired. And it's pretty extreme like the skating is. A lot of mountain hunting, desert hunting in California are up to 14,000 feet. How do you get up there? You gotta walk up there, climb up there, and it's an investment of energy and time, and you can't cheat it. I've been a professional hunting guide for the last 4 years for Kika Outfitters here in California, and I've been primarily focused on desert bighorn sheep.
Once your golf is on the GoPro, we'll taxi 26 left downwind departure.
To follow an animal effectively, year in, year out, man, you've got to be looking at them everywhere, all the time.
The sheep move in from over towards our left side and they drop over onto this ridge over here. So we want to fly over the top of that. We've had a lot of issues with our sheep in here right now with the pneumonia.
these big animals that we put as these icons of the West, these icons of the outdoors, they're underfunded. They need more money so we can learn more about them, so that we can better manage them.
I'm not happy that we're not seeing sheep right here, though, on these ridges. It's not a good sign at all for the health of them.
Some of these big hunts bring a huge amount of funding to our wild animals. If I can do anything to help get more funding in the state of California for desert bighorn sheep so we can learn more about them, so we can better manage them, so that they're healthier, that's rewarding, that's worthwhile. I try to really work on who I am as a person, you know, and if I go to the outdoors, I'm a better person. Just as importantly, it's for my family. So that my family and my kids see that their father's hardworking and that he doesn't make excuses. It's not perfect and he doesn't always get the job done the right way, but I try. You know, I thought I'd be done. I thought I'd probably be quit skating when I was 25 or something. I'm 43 and I'm still motivated. I'm still motivated by the act of skating. To do something that's like that for any period of time, you struggle with motivation, injuries, confidence. Your age gets into it and you have kids. Maybe you're partnered in a business. Maybe you do other stuff on the side. Beautiful grain on that one. So that balance for me is very important. I love being a skateboarder and I wouldn't change it for the world, you know, but it busts you up. It busts you up pretty bad. And if you want to do it and do it successfully or continue to do it, you've got to be willing to get right back up and get right back where you're at and then keep pushing it again. Mess with the ball, you get the horns every single time.
Yeah. No pain, no gain.
It's all good though. What we do in the outdoors here, that physical challenge is similar. I have to deal with the real world, conditions, elevation, weather. But it's quiet time. And it balances me. And I think it gives me just a certain sense of peace inside, you know, and that keeps me grounded, keeps me happy more than anything.
Hi, my name is Joshua Jackson. It's been 5 years since the wreck of my sprint car. I'm here today to tell you to never give up on your dreams, so enjoy a prayer from Joshua Jackson.
This is gonna be dynamite! Fasten your seatbelts, put your helmets on, and sit back and relax, because this is gonna be one dynamite main event! Here we go, we're set to rock and roll. 20 trips around! Joshua Jackson searching for the lead. Down the front straightaway, here comes Jackson from 15th to 2nd.
I think every single one of them, their dream is to go to NASCAR. Every single one. I mean, they think they're gonna be the next Dale Jr. or Jeff Gordon. As they get older, I think they start to realize that it's not so easy, but that's their goal. And that definitely was Joshua's goal. Josh was 5 years old, and my dad called me and said, I got your son a race car. And my first thought was, there's no way my 5-year-old is racing a car. But we went out to the track, and I mean, he loved it from the very beginning. My dad has been in his life from day one, and he took the place of his real father in a lot of sense. My dad used to be a race car driver, so I think in a lot of ways Josh was living out his dream.
Joshua Jackson gets to work early. Jackson will pull away down the max runway.
Tell me about the race. It was pretty good. The car was a little loose.
Joshua Jackson to the lead.
He was an extremely talented driver. He could avoid things that other drivers just couldn't at a very young age. We traveled all over the country, pretty much in every state except Alaska and Hawaii.
I know a lot of racers. I grew up with a lot of racers. And if there was one person that I could tell you who was gonna make it, I'm not being biased because he's my best friend, Joshua Jackson had the talent to make it all the way.
He was a 5-time national champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, your race winner, the 16-year-old Joshua Jackson.
Josh has always been treated differently on the track. When you have a black kid in a very white sport, a lot of hurtful things have happened to him because of it. Any one little thing was off with this car, they'd disqualify him. If he hit somebody else, he'd get black flagged. When he was younger, I would say, you know, they're just making you a better driver. Josh was very much on his way to NASCAR. He had tried out and he got to meet a lot of the NASCAR officials, and everybody was very impressed with how he drove the car. All they asked of him was, please go out and get in a faster car and then come back. So the decision was made to go sprint car, which is a 360 open wheel car. It's a really fast, dangerous car. It's easy if you make contact, somebody is gonna go flying. He went out in the main event, and I went to the tower to videotape. A couple yellows had come out. He was working his way. He was probably about mid-pack.
There's Joshua Jackson in the 37. Claims he ripped it out of the headers. Goes burned, fires out. Joshua Jackson will try to get over if he's okay.
I'm like, okay, he's just got the wind knocked out of him, is really what I thought.
Is driver okay? Not. Flag the ambulance, flag the ambulance. We need medics quick. Group Gene, they're coming. They can only go so fast on this track.
His friend started to spin in front of him, and Josh corrected because it's open wheel. They touched wheels. And then a third car. When Josh was in the wheelie, the front nose of the car went into the opening of Josh's sprint car.
Is he conscious yet? No. He has a head injury.
It broke the roll cage and struck Josh in the head. It was a shock tower. So it was basically like a missile to the side of the face.
Is he okay?
Have any kind of status on the driver? I've got his mother here and she's completely hysterical. They're airlifting him to this time, race fans, if you could please rise on your feet and bow your heads. Father, we ask that you please watch over Joshua Jackson and his family. We ask that you please get him back conscious and back healthy. Get him back home safely. Amen.
Then we got a call. Brooklyn's mom called and said, "Did Josh die at the track? What's going on?" And she was crying. And I remember saying, I think he's fine. And she said that it was posted on Facebook that he died. He had died in the helicopter, from what I was told. And then they were able to bring him back. Everything was just kind of very quick. I think we drove, 90, 100 all the way to El Paso, and we got there. And his neurosurgeon was very blunt. And he is like, "I'll do everything I can, but there's really no hope. So you need to make arrangements in the morning."
I actually don't remember anything. When the shock tower went through my helmet, it crushed my skull. Skull, okay. Crushed my skull. The surgeon removed part of my brain. Or my eye. And I suffered a stroke. The right side of my body was paralyzed. When I woke up, my mom was there, and Brooklyn was there. That's all I remember when I woke up. I was in the hospital for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months.
Raise your right hand up.
Can you open your fingers?
I guess it was almost like watching a baby and getting excited, oh, look, he did this, because we didn't know what to expect after everything. We didn't know if he was ever going to walk again.
He was in rehab for 9 months.
Look straight ahead, look at the camera. There you go.
No, move your eyes. He lost his left eye, so he can't see anybody that's on the left side of him.
So stay low, make sure that knee's bent. There we go. 9, 10. Okay, both.
On both hands?
You can do it. 1. You gotta remember, you just gotta get it going. You gotta think of your goals. Where do you wanna be, Josh? Where do you wanna be? All you've been through. All you've been through, Josh. You're almost there. Keep pulling. Don't pass out. Make sure you're breathing.
I have a limited range of motion in my right arm. I can't move my ankle. My ankle is fused. I don't have peripheral vision. I have speech aphasia, so I can like think of something, and then when I go to say it, it comes out completely different than what I'm thinking. My doctors told me that racing be out of the question. If I got in another accident, it would probably kill me.
At this point, he had gotten so kind of complacent with his recovery. The sadness was starting to kick in. And I felt like I had to do something. We were going to a movie theater, and right next to the movie theater was karting. And Josh was like, "Now, Mom, we're going now." So I agreed. We went in. broke the track record like the third lap out.
Welcome back to the New Mexico Motorsports Report here on ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team. We'll have Brooklyn Green back. It's finally good to have you back in the seat. How you doing?
Thanks, David. Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. And so you brought a special guest in this morning. Introduce who you got with us today.
Yeah, so we've got Joshua Jackson in the studio. How you doing, Josh?
Pretty good.
When you think Joshua Jackson, you think racing. And after you do something for so many years, since you're how old? 4? You started when you were 4? 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, what is it like to race back at Las Cruces with all of your history at that track?
You know, it's in the past now. I just one of those people that can't give up on racing no longer because
right.
I don't know what to do if I don't race, and there's really nothing I can do. So you gotta focus your mind into like where you're at now and finding a way to make yourself go out and win, or at least try to win.
Good evening once again to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Southern New Mexico Speedway night number 1 of the 19th annual USRA Fall Nationals, presented by Budweiser, Sea Valley Transportation, S&S Fishing Rental, Rachel Malloy.
Fall Nationals is usually the end of the race season. It's kind of where everybody kind of gets together. Usually it's big money. How you do at the Fall Nationals can typically give you a standing before going into another national race. He's like every other driver. He's out there to win. He's not out there to come in second. So he'll do what he has to. I don't have any ill will where the track is concerned. It is a track that's hard for me to watch Josh race on. For me, it's reliving it all over again.
Up next, heat race 1 of 2 for the Casa Nissan Legends of the Southwest. As they roll onto the racetrack, heat race number 1. Roll through to the inside, you'll find the 37 of Joshua Jackson. Jackson of Albuquerque in the Mile 2 Wild Bows Machine Chain R Retro Equipment number 37 outside. Getting set to storm off of turn number 4. Then the number 7070 of Eric LaCroix with Joshua Jackson. He's going to go 3 wide down the back straightaway. Joshua Jackson, 3 wide, looking for 6th. And Saunders has muscled his way to 2nd after starting 4th. And trouble breaking around Jackson. Caution is out around the racetrack. First caution of tonight's racing program. So we'll get Chelsea, Josh Jackson, and Greg McCoy cleared from turn number 3. Modified action, and there you see Jackson trouble in the right front. So that right front is bent, and it looks like he will take it to the pit area. Remember last time.
I failed again. I failed. I got it.
Like I said before, he goes out to win. And I know that if he's in another serious accident, he's not going to walk away from it. When somebody tells you that your dream is gone, you're not going to live your life. This is what makes him happy, and I didn't give birth to him for him to live the life I wanted to live.
On 18 cars ready to come to green, this time by 20 trips around for tonight's Legend A Main. All 18 starters present and accounted for. Here we go. Greg McCoy and the Las Cruces turning them loose, and away we go. Greg McCoy to the inside, Zach Rodriguez to the outside. Zach will jump to the race lead. Trouble, one car spinning. Eli Woody's around. Quickly, Josh Jackson going to move on to the second spot. Now he's off the racetrack. They're 3 wide. Jackson has slipped the right rear off the bank. He can go from second back to fourth. Boy, the battle for second's a good one. Josh Jackson trying to get back to it. He's gone back up to third. Zach Rodriguez, Josh Jackson side by side here, full position down the front straightaway. They're side by side. Josh Jackson hanging on to the runner-up spot now. Oh, there goes Jackson. Josh Jackson may challenge for the lead here. Dylan Harris with a couple car length advantage. Josh Jackson down to the bottom. Harris up top, Jackson down to the bottom. They're almost side by side. Harris with a 3 car length advantage. Now Dylan Harris trying to build it. Down the back straightaway. Josh Jackson's not letting Dylan Harris drive away, or he's only got a 3 or 4 car length lead. Dylan Harris, a little bit of trouble negotiating turn 3 that time. He allows Josh Jackson to close in a little bit closer at 37. White flag in the air one more time. Come to the checker, and Dylan Harris will win it. Josh Jackson will come home second. In the 37 and picking up the ladies on
Where most kids had different dreams, you know, to be a firefighter, be a lawyer, whatever it is, whatever they wanted to do, and it changed daily. Josh has never changed. He's had this one dream, and he was so close to making it happen.
I was so close to making it in NASCAR. I was so close, so close.
Before the accident, he was so focused on where he wanted to go.
Sometimes it wasn't even that fun. Before the accident, I was really successful, but I was angry all the time.
He would still love to make it, but he's happy. And it's a happiness that I haven't seen from him in a long time. The people that are close to him know why he still does what he does. We also know that it gives him the power back, and it gives him the right to make the decisions himself. He knows the risks, and he accepts those risks, and I accept them with him.
I know I never raced in NASCAR. Maybe. Just maybe.
Hey there, folks. Jimmy Chin here. Just wanted to introduce this short film, Sandbagging Jimmy Chin, which I think is an appropriate title for this piece. If you're unfamiliar with the term sandbagging, this will be a very useful film to watch. You may discover that you've actually already sandbagged a lot of people in your life, and maybe after watching this film, you'll begin to really appreciate and possibly enjoy sandbagging your friends and family. So this film is really actually also about, one of the best surf trips of my life, where I got to go with my longtime surf heroes and longtime friends, Dan and Keith Malloy, Geoff Johnson, John Rose, and Mark Healy. Geoff Johnson, I might add, has spent much of his adult life perfecting the art of sandbagging, which you'll be able to experience here. Anyways, I've dreamt of, going surfing, going on a surf trip with these guys for years. I've known them all for a long time. But as they say, careful what you wish for, because sometimes you might get it. Okay, I hope you enjoy Sandbagging Jimmy Chin.
Sandbagging Jimmy Chin? I didn't sandbag Jimmy Chin. I don't even know what that is.
How you doing? I'm YETI Ambassador Mark Healy. Check out our film Sandbagging, where we took a good friend, Jimmy Chin, out to go hunt down his first tube.
Those are some big sets. Jesus, look at that thing.
That's almost right.
There's been like
It's 100% rideable.
That's like 5
Are you kidding me?
We're going to some hollow outer reef. Sounds pretty casual.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Oh, you'll be fine, man.
Prospects for Jimmy at this moment are not so good. I don't think he's gonna get barreled today.
But I got really scared and eat shit probably.
When we first showed up and we saw these sets lining up outside, and I see Keith and John paddling out, and I was just thinking, are they really just gonna like sight unseen, never been here before, they're just gonna roll right out and catch the first huge set rolling in? And that's exactly what they did.
Holy shit!
They're talking about towing me into this outer reef. I don't know what they call it in surfing, but in climbing you call it getting sandbagged, dude. Okay. Let's see. So a little while ago, John Rose did an interview with me, and he asked me as his last question if there's anything that I still want to do in my life that I hadn't done. I told him I wanted to get barreled, and apparently Geoff Johnson found out about that, and he was like,
We got to get Jimmy Chin barreled. Like, how fun would that be,
Can he surf? Like, I mean, has he ever paddled? Like, can he get up? Can he get himself out in the lineup?
Getting a tube ride or getting barreled in surfing is basically when the crest of a wave throws out over the top of you and you're in this tiny little zone and kind of witnessing it happen, and you shoot directly through the crest of the wave, right through the curl, and come out the other side. And it's the best thing you can do in surfing by 100 times.
what are the chances that I'm gonna get barreled?
Like it's 50-50.
Like if I had to bet, it would be like a 30% chance.
It was almost kind of a joke.
I would give Jimmy a 90% chance of getting barreled at some point and making it.
And before this trip, we didn't even know if Jimmy was goofy or regular foot. You know, which we probably should have done our research.
Beyond the possibility of maybe getting tubed, he's gonna have the possibility to get his ass handed to him.
I'm saying 100%. Yeah, he's gonna get barreled.
So 20 years ago, I was a full dirtbag climbing bum, ski bum. I've been living out of my car. I lived out of my car for 7 years. For some reason, surfing always captured my imagination. And, you know, even the first time I met Keith and Dan and Geoff, even though we kind of come from different worlds, there was like an immediate mutual respect.
Jimmy's one of those guys I always just kind of knew of. You know, he's world famous now, you know, with Free Solo and Meru and all the things he's done. But even back 10, 15 years ago, if you're in the climbing world, you knew who Jimmy Chin was.
I've always just had a crazy appreciation for what Jimmy has done. One of the first times I hung out with him, somebody told me that he climbed Everest and then skied down.
We've all spent so much time with each other. You know, we've known Mark Healy since he was 12.
I know Keith and Dan from seeing them on the North Shore probably when I was like 12 years old.
None of us are young bucks, that's for sure. And we kind of wanted to go on a trip for a long time. You know, it's easy to talk about trips, but like actually organizing and put them together is rare.
Pretty special getting all these guys together. We all have a lot of history together.
When I first got here and I was thinking, all right, here I am, and I'm sitting in the lineup with Mark Healy, Keith Malloy, John Rose, you know, Jeff Johnson and Dan Malloy, and I'm like, this is a pretty heavy crew. Like, I'm rolling pretty deep right now.
In climbing, there's this thing called a sandbag, and I don't know the origins of it, but it's basically you're not telling the whole truth when you take your friend out to do something. You're like, yeah, you'll be fine, you'll be fine.
Well, the thing is Geoff is definitely like a notorious sandbagger.
Geoff, you know, convinced Keith to climb El Cap with them one time.
It's classic Geoff Johnson sandbag.
And Keith is legitimately afraid of heights. I mean, he has a phobia, you know? But he agreed to do it.
Well, it's kind of funny because I took Keith on his first backcountry snowboarding trip.
He took me up and showed me some things in the mountains, and I just completely clueless. Kind of a neat thing to have that whole thing reversed, and now I'm helping him into these bigger waves.
Taking a boat out to an outer reef that's like literally the biggest waves I've ever, you know, seen live. And they're just like, yep, let's paddle out, you know.
You know, you couldn't really tell how big it was because nobody was out. But then as soon as Healy got out there, you could tell it was like solid surf, like no joke at all. Really heavy.
Well, I've been in more sticky situations, getting caught inside or pounded in big surf than most humans. I have a lot of experience in this area. And today I got one of the worst beatings and hold downs, like top 10, I would say, out of my whole winter season in Hawaii. So that way, like, it was real deal out there. As I was getting blown up underwater and in the air, I thought to myself immediately, like, maybe I need to pump the brakes on pushing Jimmy into this right now.
Somebody else at his skill level, I would not be telling them to go out today, you know, just because it's not for everyone, and not everybody can hold it together, you know.
I'm not sure why they made me put this on, but it makes me a little nervous.
Jimmy paddled out there and got his ass kicked, his ass handed to him, and he stayed out. That guy is hungry.
Jimmy, right there.
And before you know it, Jimmy's paddling into an outer reef wave that's like double overhead.
I paddled for a wave, and I turned around, and I looked outside, and it was probably the biggest wave I've ever seen. Even on this trip, it was the biggest wave I've ever seen. And of course, that's the one I got caught by. There was so much water and so much power. I mean, it felt like a freight train. Yeah, in the back of my mind, I think I was also thinking it's not as bad as some other things I felt before, you know.
He went and felt the power. Like, he did not shy away from anything. He felt the full brunt of what was on hand out there. And it was serious stuff.
I thought I might get it, but I got whooped. In my mind, you know, it was a perfect trip. I couldn't have asked for a better crew or a group of teachers.
This is the one I stood up on.
Is it?
I jumped up. I was like, oh my God, I'm in the barrel.
Jimmy got barreled. He went from having no idea kind of really how to do it to standing up in the barrel. I don't think he made one.
I don't know if Jimmy got barreled. I saw a big old smile on his face a couple times. Judging by his countenance, I suspect he got barreled.
I don't know if I could say I can't say that I got barreled. I just made that kind of arbitrary goal because I always love the process of trying to get to some place that seems impossible because it forces you to do all these things that you might not necessarily push yourself at. I mean, I think a big part about staying young and happy and stoked is always being open to learn. And I think it keeps you young, you know? I think that I always want to be learning something new or having a new experience or pushing myself in a new way. I think that's important.
I would say that he did get in the barrel, which is very hard to do. Now, the next trip is going to be him trying to make it out of one of them.
Friends and family and strangers, I am pleased to present Ingrained, a film about myself and my family. Kind of follow me around the world a little bit, doing some snowboarding. Also here with the family on the ranch in Tent Sleep, doing our thing. So I want to thank everybody that worked extremely hard on this piece. Thanks for YETI supporting and believing, and yeah, keep doing what you do. Appreciate you.
No matter the weather, no matter the day of the week, we're always up early. And then it was off to doing chores or cutting weeds, chasing cows, fixing fence, water tanks.
Is it clear? Should we come up or do you want to put a down track in? Over.
Nothing makes me feel more free than being out in the cold air and in those crazy big mountains. It's just freedom for me. Tent Sleep, population 260. Zone.
It's not for everybody. You know, it takes a certain kind of person to live here and be happy.
Little baby calf. You know, we were just around animals all the time.
You had a pet raccoon.
She had a polar on. Mark, as a kid, he wanted to be a mountain man. I mean, that was the way involuntarily I've molded my life. Look at my old man. He's a good-looking son of a bitch. He's probably my age right there.
I made him work.
Hard work. Dirty work.
Richard's a battle axe. Taught us how to work hard, taught us how to be men, and be honest. That was just ingrained into us at a young age. That's me and brother.
if you'll grab those 6 and get them close.
Where are those 6?
That's what ranchers are. They're just individuals that can get something done on their own and don't need somebody to hold their hand to do it. Yeah, I knew when I first started snowboarding it was definitely something I wanted to pursue, but I really didn't know how. We were just a bunch of ranch kids. Ranch kids didn't snowboard.
Different niche. There aren't many people that have a ranch background, I imagine, that even snowboard really professionally.
I questioned what he was doing after a year or two, and he said, I have a plan. By 5 years that he should be in a certain spot.
What he saw was me being a rancher, and I had a different vision. But who doesn't want to make their dad proud?
Terrier session. This was a huge day. There's Kurt and Tony. It was kind of like my beginning.
The idea of leaving tent sleep was what I wanted, but it was a scary thought. People in tent sleep didn't really talk about traveling the world as a kid. I mean, I was terrified of flying. Anxiety. And that's been something I've had to get over.
For the past several years, we've been coming to Chile, and being able to pack the bags and hit the road with somebody is huge.
Well, what's that volcano? That volcano's like 15 or 18 or something? Maybe even more.
It's right around the corner, but it's hard to see. It's 6,100 meters. That's the last 6,000 meter peak south in the world.
My sled shred kit together. The early mornings. We all have radios. The wrestling machines around. The stress of the dangers of the mountains and the navigation and being out there with your best friend. You know, you really need to be focused and putting forth your best effort.
I think we're good. He's just putting that track in the upper one. Let's go up to him, see if we can make it.
The more you want to explore and progress as a rider, you have to make sure you surround yourself with people that you trust, and like Mark is someone that I trust with my life.
It's hard work and it's emotional, and then you have the days where the stars align and everything works, and that's what keeps us coming back.
I wonder if I should just rip down and then just move back up and start it like that.
That shit he's doing, I mean, you couldn't pour me out of a helicopter to do that stuff. It's crazy. I found a family in snowboarding and in the people I surround myself with here. It's my family away from my family.
You want to see me disappear?
Over the years, he's gained a global perspective that he brings back to his community. He always goes back to his roots.
I think this red dirt's in his blood. This is home to him.
It's awesome when my brother comes home because I've got my right-hand man back, and we click and we get each other.
Okay. Teamwork.
The Carters are putting out probably the best beef out of Wyoming.
Throw him, Marcy. We got about 450 calves we'll do today. We got to put our mark on them, and now we can turn them out into the hills onto the green grass. Get it. Get the boys going. Sister, how are you? And we want to be sustainable here, be able to feed our family and eat healthy. Just feeding quality beef to good people. So Grandpa brought some beans. Better get in there. Everybody should be able to eat well. It shouldn't be just for rich people. Corn showing up. She's
probably the only person other than my wife that gets it. Be good.
You know, I love to talk to him when he comes home because he tells me about the people he associates with and the places he's been. But more proud than that, I'm proud of him that he's a good, honest man, and that he has respect to the people he's around. That means more than all the accomplishments.
Bike looks pretty fast.
That was a long day. We walked all the way to Misty Moon into the Cloud Peak Lakes, all the way back.
Well, Dad, it looked like he had a big pack, but he had like paper towels, a pillow. Like, yeah, I got a great, like, we're packing like cast iron skillets up there.
Remember Gabby?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, she had the same weight as these boys, and I mean, we'd say, you want some help? She said, nope. She just kept chugging.
Like, Gab's tough.
She's tough little heifer, man.
Tough.
Hey everybody, my name is Ryan Whitbeck, and my brother Jameson and I are in the next film that you're about to watch called Kikoa. Kikoa is a 50-foot wooden catamaran that my brother and I built back in 2008, and this is a boat that has taken us on a lot of adventures, some more extreme than others, and certainly this film will capture some of the more epic moments in our lives. It's a crazy story, to say the least. I hope you enjoy it. So without further ado, kick back, crack a beer, enjoy the film. I remember going to bed, and I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was listening to the wind. And I was listening to every nail in my house groan. Every bit of framing in my house was moving because of this wind, and I knew that was going to change how the next chapter of our lives were going to be.
Growing up in Vermont, being pretty rural, we basically had to invent our own fun. I feel like a lot of times we were building forts, tree houses, anything outside that kept us outside. Being outside was, I think, something that my mother forced the hand, and just knew that it was a form of like tough love.
I just believe that nature is where they're gonna really learn a lot about life.
I feel like we were kind of let loose in the woods to do whatever we thought was okay. But what transpired throughout the day was building forts, digging foxholes. It was the imagination of Mama Nature, and everything that we could find outside, we tied our story to it, and it was a lot of fun.
Jameson graduated from college, and he called me and said, you know, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't want to go back to school. I have a degree in psychology. I said to him, well, you know, you're 23, you have no debts. Why don't you go do something you always wanted to do and enjoy life for a little bit? And says, you know, I think I want to learn how to build wooden boats.
In my mind, a wooden boat had some type of souls, and I needed to find a wooden boat builder. And then I found this one shop, and I walked in, and there's a guy over there shaping wood on the one side. Then there's another guy on the other side of the shop. I can smell the hot, like, metals and sparks coming off the other dude's area. And I'm just thinking, like, this is what I'm supposed to do right here. It was like Jonathan Livingston Seagull, like I found my flock.
He called me up and said, I got a job at this boatyard. You got to come see what these guys are doing. I think we should build wooden boats. I literally drove from Colorado to South Carolina, and I pulled into this boatyard, saw my brother, had this big embrace, and I looked back and I was like, oh man, we got to do this.
4 3/4. We can just cut from this face. 4 3/4. That's what I'm talking about.
Ryan and I worked for $6 an hour. Well, I got $6 an hour. Somehow I was special. He got demoted to $5 an hour, but we worked for like very little pay for like a good number of years with the idea that we would build a boat together.
here we are. It's the boatyard away from the boatyard. Come with me on this walking tour.
I don't think the initial idea so much was to build our own, but quickly that changed, and we started taking a lot more notes, and we started paying close attention so that if we ever had the opportunity to build our own, we knew exactly how to do it. And Keikoa began on an old decommissioned Navy base in North Charleston, South Carolina.
We built Keikoa to sell her. Even though that's the way I think we had it in our minds, there was definitely something about it that never seemed like we were gonna let go of this boat.
It took 2 years to build Keikoa, and there's this feeling of once you build a boat, you can't really ever free yourself of the connection.
There was something about the boat that was way more than just some project. There was a life and a soul that seemed to come with a boat. And it's interesting because when you build a boat, everything's kind of constructed a lot like any project. But as soon as you launch that boat, that's when it kind of comes to life, and it's always in motion. It never stops.
When we finished Keikoa, it was like, it was not looking so good for selling a $1 million luxury item, considering that the whole economy was really not so great in 2008.
Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. The stock market is now down 21%.
43%. And the NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
Customers are freaked out.
Every day they're pounding it.
This is volatility we haven't seen since, 1929.
Oh, God. Somehow, these guys come along, and they're just going to pay, like, full asking price. They were headed to the Caribbean with this thing, and they wanted to deliver Keikoa in December, which is the beginning of winter storm season. They sailed out 300 miles offshore, 2 days into a 10-day voyage, getting 30 to 40-foot seas.
6 o'clock in the morning, I put the phone to my ear, and before he said anything, before I said anything, all I could hear was just the sound of the wind. The captain started to speak, and he said, Ryan, it's bad. We're having a hard time. We're taking on water. I think we're gonna abandon ship.
Coast Guard went out, 300 miles, dropped the basket down onto Keikoa, evacuated the 4 delivery crew, and flew them back to safety. That was a moment where we had lost the boat. There's no way. There's no way it's coming back. Six days after the boat went missing, we got on a fishing boat, 36 hours of searching a giant quadrant. And we found the boat.
I mean, at the end of the day, she basically shook them off and came back to us.
You're on scene with the vessel Keikoa. I'm going to be passing our coordinates at this time.
All of a sudden, this thing falls in your lap, and we got it back. I mean, we know what to do with this thing. Let's charter it. Let's go back to that little island that was so good to us.
I think we had $1,000 in our account between 2 families and a startup business, and we ran our first charter. And it was like, okay, a little money to pay for the booze and the food for the next one, send the rest home to the families, and let's run another one.
Those guys are just great, man. Ryan and Jameson, good feeling, good vibe with good, good people, man. If you've been on that boat, you'll see, man, that boat is one of a kind.
Keikoa has given so much to St. John, and it's family.
So if someone wants to crew on Kikoa, they gotta answer some questions. Did you ever sniff glue? Did you eat crayons? At what elevation in the Rocky Mountains do the deer turn into elk? Are you offended by swear words? I mean, the answer I'm looking for there is fuck no. Did you go to college? I don't care. I hope you didn't. Do you surf? Somebody was like, well, I used to. I'm like, well, you can be hired, but I'm not your friend anymore. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? You used to. You gave up?
Jameson's always on an adventure. One afternoon, Jameson's like, we're gonna just throw tomahawks at a thing and like, just drink a bunch of beers and see what we can hit.
Jameson is a hard-working, determined pain in the ass.
He's younger than I am on a maturity level.
Ryan is the opposite. He's kind of the sweeter, more level-headed brother, I think.
He really just is like a blanket, just make sure everything's good.
There needs to be both of them. One without the other doesn't work.
They're like, what's the Peter Pan, the Lost Boys or whatever they are? Yeah, they're those little kids.
We had this utopic idea, like you captain one day, I'll captain the next. We'll be our own crew, we can make lots of money, we'll live in the islands. Dude, reality, man, reality.
My family and I primarily live in Lyons, Colorado. Now I take care of everything from bookings, marketing, basically all the non-romantic side of a business.
Turning this into a boatyard, I think, was an evolution of, first of all, I just came up and fell in love with the spot. And then because I build boats, thought like, well, how could I just hang out here? I built a boat in the backyard. I get to hang out here quite a bit and just make wood chips and make sawdust. It's very basic stuff. The cutting and fitting of wood. You know, the boats that we've built, they're kind of like our forts that we used to build when we were little. They're just highly organized forts. This is fiberglass dust, so it's particles that make you itch quite a bit. But I'm pretty much immune to it at this point. It's already at the 2-year mark, and we've got a ways to go. Kikoa took us 2 years to put together. It's one hell of a big sculpture now. Land sculpture, that's what everyone calls it. Hopefully not. Someday, hopefully I'll launch it. This is such a nice place to finish. It'd be a shame to prematurely take it out of here. Plus, it's hurricane season. That's probably going to tear this place up.
Every year, as soon as hurricane season's even close, I start to watch weather daily, if not 3 times a day. You not only watch the systems, but you watch all the other conditions that can make or break whether a storm becomes something.
What's up, bro? What's up, dude? What's up, man? You all right?
Yeah.
You could feel it. You could feel it in the air. Irma was just sizing up to be a beast.
There's energy. It kind of gets you hyped up. You know, I've had that with past storms, but nothing like this.
Longitude 50.6 west. Extremely dangerous Hurricane Irma heading for the northern Leeward Islands.
Brand new tropical storm developed. A Category 2 hurricane.
We have a major hurricane with a well-developed
expected to strengthen over the next coming days.
With Irma, it was pretty much game on.
The winds are getting down to the surface here, probably close to 175. The 175 will be devastating.
Just went to the storage unit, started getting every piece of chain.
A Category 4, Category 5 storm. Looks like it's going to maintain this Category 5 strength.
Immediately started putting down ground tackle, pulling off sails, life rafts, everything that was on the exterior of that boat that could move, we took off.
This monster storm is now posing a major threat.
We don't just put anchors down, we put anchors down and we preload them.
Continuing to churn for over 24 hours.
On 15 different points of contact to the ocean floor, and each one of them was like a guitar string. It is just ready.
Hurricane Irma is now the most powerful storm ever recorded in the open Atlantic Ocean. That has one forecaster warning that the Leeward Islands are going to get destroyed.
Is now the strongest hurricane to ever plow into the Leeward Islands.
We walked out of that building and realized that our lives had changed.
This does not look good.
$200-mile-an-hour winds. The mind can't even comprehend what's going on.
Holy crap. A bomb just went off.
Irma was a powerful storm, man. Irma, to me, tops them all.
Every tree, every bush, devastation.
Irma make boat fly like a kite.
Hundreds of boats just piled up, pushed ashore, just gone forever. Those who lived on board don't have a home. Your insurances don't pay out, nothing covers you, and your life is changed. That's devastating.
Fuck. 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 Fuck, brother.
Came around the corner, and before we even saw, we okay, don't see the mast. And saw her up on the bank. And we could clearly see that the mast had come down. We could see that the railings were trashed. It looked like a total loss.
Jesus, dude. Someone else's fucking bow. Yetis are in the engine room.
The port side stern has got a rip, looks like a tin can opened up, and you've got a 12-foot hole in the hull, just imploded.
Everything was damaged. All the seating had been destroyed. The mast was gone, all the rigging was down. Ladder, the bow beam, everything had either been scratched from a cosmetics standpoint or had been completely damaged and destroyed. That's it. Her back is broken, she's done.
I asked him, I said, well, what was it like? And I mean, it's like this freight train outside your door. taking your roof and everything else. It's like, well, when's it coming in? And Jamie and Ryan told me how for 4 or 5 hours, it was pretty quiet. They didn't talk much. I think they were scared. I think they were scared to death.
Two months without electricity as of right now. I think if we got electricity by Christmas, so that's another month. Well, no, month and a half. Another month and a half. So 3.5 months without power. We looked at it. It looked like the hull had broken in half. The mast was broken off. Railings are ripped off. Rudders, engine shafts, engine swamped. It looks like a total loss, but as you dig your way out, you just don't give up.
If you envision a tree from the very beginning, a seedling, a little sapling, it's blowing around in the wind. And it's having to handle that wind and that flexing. Because it's alive and has a life, it's growing to resist those things without showing fatigue. And that's a really important point about wood boats, is they have the beauty, the resilience. Because it had life, it has that ability to flex.
A pessimist will find a difficulty in every opportunity. To him, everything is impossible. But the optimist will say, he'll find an opportunity in every difficulty. He'll find an opportunity in it. When I look at Jameson and Ryan, that's what I see in them. That's how they move. Nothing is impossible.
I feel like the decision was made within the first week. I mean, if we felt like we couldn't fix that boat, or if we had decided not to, we wouldn't have dug her out.
Had it been anyone else's boat, that boat would have been scrapped, compacted, and put in a dump. But because it's Jameson and Ryan, and let's be honest, that boat's their baby. They built it, they've relaunched it before when it got damaged, when it was lost to sea the first time. It's been their baby through thick and thin.
They don't always agree. They don't have a perfect relationship. Who does? But I think when push comes to shove, there's nothing that could get between them. They just have a very strong bond, and they've always had it.
They can embrace each other in a way that is so forgiving and accepting. That's really unique. Like, that's not typical.
I guess they kind of follow from each other, man. Just copy from each other and just all work together as one head. You know, one head together move mountains, man. You put two heads together, you could move. There's no limits to what you can do, and that's them.
I don't know, we have a way of just dealing with it, laughing through it, joking about it when we can, and in some ways I think we're bred for this shit.
That's not mold.
Okay.
It might be mold.
The food is good.
I have another low point today.
I had a lot of low points.
Cheese sandwich. Maybe I was just really hungry.
We spent 5.5 weeks without ever being further than this right here. And that has paved the way our entire lives of all the things we've been through. It's made the difference. You know, you share the burden with somebody, I don't know what it is. And then obviously the brotherhood, there's a bond that says no matter how pissed you get or how scary something is like you've got your brother with you. And there's something about that where you can walk into war if you've got your brother beside you.
We completely put the boat back together in a way that is stronger than the original. There were low points, and then there was always, no, there's no way. We will dust off the ripped up pieces of that boat, and we will put it back together.
All right, the hardest hit part of the boat was this whole hull. This entire area all the way from basically about here.
This all had to be totally restructured. Bottom of the keels were ripped off.
This whole area was compromised.
The ends of all these beams were stress cracked. Both sides, rudders, struts, drive shafts.
Damage on both inboard hulls.
The fuel tanks had to be pulled out.
So this is all new material here.
Today we have to figure out how the final push of the boat is going to go here. Big boat's going to get ready to tow us out, so it's this final preps. Getting a little nervous, honestly. Don't want to damage anything on the way out.
I don't want to claim to know what St. John ultimately needs, but I know that we're a part of the community here. And I know there's a lot of people rooting for us, and someone said it to me the other day, they said, you know what, I'm not going to feel like this island's gone anywhere until I see that boat on its mooring again. You're surrounded by people like that, you feel like you've done something right in your life. We're on the right path. Let go of that, the only thing you'll be tied to is us.
You gotta pull it back and coast into it.
And that's when I puke, Elliot, right there, waiting for that snap.
No, that's my job.
We're starting to move into position here, so it's clearing the area.
All right, Silver Cloud, give us 30 seconds and we're ready to go. All right, that looks pretty good.
Okay, roger that.
Okay, clear, guys. Ryan, hold on. This is gonna be a wild ride. I see somehow an extension of myself and my brother, and I see a lot more than a boat.
Hey, brother. Hey, man. She's a member of the family. Toa has a spirit. she's found ways to survive and push through, and I believe we're just along for the ride.
They don't give up. They keep trying things, and if it don't work, they try again. They try something else.
Giving up is easy. That's the easy road. This boat has taught us again and again to just stay with it.
We need to grind out, and I guess this other one here.
I tell you what, man, there's no one else I'd rather go through a disaster with than you, because I've never had so much fun.
This boat has had a serious ass whooping.
Several times.
I mean, this boat. It always gets the ass whooping and we have to rebuild it. It's like our lot in life to rebuild this boat. Good thing we like adventure. That's all I can say, because it just keeps coming. What is adventure? Adventure is the tragedy that never occurs. I don't even know who said it, but it wasn't me.
Hey, Ben Ayers here, coming to you from Vermont, where I just came back from my home in Kathmandu. And Renan Osterk and I were the two white guys who set out to make a film about these badass, pioneering Nepali women who are old friends of mine. And as you'll see, Mothered by Mountains is a film about what happens when you let go of your preconceived notions and you let adventure and you let the true spirit of people kind of shine through. And it's a cool short film about two really unique people. And that's also, I think, a bit of a reflection of the real character of places like Nepal, where while there's a lot of hardship and difficulty there that many people in the country, including Pasang and Serena, have had to overcome, there's also a lot of real integrity and character and spirit and meaning. So I hope that that's some of what comes through to the film to you both. And we'll do some follow-ups later with Pasang and Serena as well. Enjoy. What was the name of your first band? What was it?
Skinhead Barbie.
We have so many boundaries. Women shouldn't do this, women shouldn't do that.
It's like, I don't think I belong in this movie at all. And she's some, really famous climber.
So this was supposed to be a film about empowering women, about bringing two of my friends on this badass adventure, but it all kind of went horribly wrong.
I'm just a stupid punk musician from Kathmandu, who we were the most unlikely match, and I'm sure she never imagined that she'd be hanging out with a creature like me. That's how I get into songs normally. No.
The goal of this trip is to leave Kathmandu on motorcycles, drive to the end of the road, hike and climb at a ridiculous speed, and get a first ascent of a peak. Fast and light, hardcore, rock and roll.
I'm excited, but I'm kind of afraid, especially in Nepal roads.
It's totally fucked.
I ride motorbike in Kathmandu, but not that heavy motorcycle like this. I cannot do this, especially the trail. I knew that. It's been a long time. I have known Bandai
I mean, I've known her now for what, 15, 16 years.
The first impression was he spoke really good Nepali. We just follow him to listen his Nepali. Nepali bolne dai kasto राम्रो बोल्छ भन्दै.
He's so amazing because he's a white guy that speaks Nepali. I have to be honest with you guys, I'm a bit of a jaded old punk ass.
She's legit. She's uncompromising and single-handedly launched this amazing, radical punk rock music scene. So we asked her to come along, and literally she had like a 24-hour turnaround. And she agreed.
So originally the idea of these motorcycles actually came from the guys themselves. Because in the end, they probably really wanted to ride the bikes.
Yeah, it's a good plan. They're into it.
Putting us in this stereotypical role of being badass women, doing the same shit, proving ourselves, doing the same stuff that guys do. And therefore, we deserve respect by riding motorcycles, climbing peaks, and having this adventure, which is a very sort of male-directed adventure. White male-directed adventure. I'm sick of all this badassery, to be honest.
Sweet. Thanks for filming. Oh, fucking tipped over. I think we totally bent the bejesus out of the handlebars. You know, the longer I live in Nepal, the more I realize how dumb I am.
And we were just having a good old time and watching these guys just suffer and sweat, live up to their name as being badasses. That's when I would be like, wait a minute, I don't think this movie's about us. It's about dudes, white dudes riding on motorcycles. I didn't sleep much. Pasang and I were girl bonding.
And she gave such a good advice this morning. I was telling her, like, I love kids, but I was also afraid that because I'm a very outdoor person, you know, I barely stay home 2-3 months in a year. It's not fair for me to do that, so.
Pasang is married, and one of the things that she battles with within herself is about becoming a mother someday and having a family. You said two kids.
Like that.
You said 2 kids. At least. Don't worry, I'll look after them because I'll be old by then.
You're not old.
Younger people are like, wow, I didn't expect that you were a mother, or I can't believe that these are your kids. Because they expect you to be a certain way, right? That just shows how people are so conditioned into thinking, a mother is like this, you know, and a mother is like that. I have no idea what a mother's supposed to be like. I'm not their birth mother. You could call me a single mom. My daughter is a really quirky little person. She was born with cerebral palsy. There's Tintin, who's 13 years old. We both got into climbing together, actually. It's nice, you know, mother and son getting into climbing at the same time. To be loving to your children, that's the most important, that they feel loved. Apart from that, what you wear, what you do, your pastime, or what you do for your living is irrelevant.
My father died almost before I could remember him, and my mother died when I was 15. I was an orphan with a dream to climb mountains.
It makes me so like it. I never give up. Martin teach me so many things.
In Sherpa culture, some mountains are seen as mothers. In a way, Pasang was mothered by mountains.
हिमाल जाने त केटाको काम पो छ केटी मान्छे भनेको अर्को काम गर्नुपर्छ भन्ने खालको नि.
She's climbed K2 with a team of women, and she's climbed Everest.
Pasang's an amazing woman. She's become the National Geographic Adventurer of the Year. And through her own drive and determination, became Nepal's first woman mountaineering instructor.
I see that there's a lot of pressure being a woman surrounded mostly by men, especially in the guiding world. All eyes are on you all the time. You better not make a false move or you better not screw up.
When I really started taking mountaineering courses, and then I felt like nobody encouraging me. Am I doing really good or really bad things? Is that really right? I'm choosing mountaineering. Is that really right or wrong? I got so confused because our society, they really don't accept women taking this job.
And there's a lot of pressure of just performing and being a good Nepali girl wherever you go.
I love kids, so I wanted to be a mother. It's completely different style, different society, different source, त्यहाँ उभिन गाह्रो छ नि अलिकति डर लाग्छ.
Take a big breath for this one.
So how's the weather, Pasang, for our climb?
Still snowing. Still getting ready to go.
It's gonna all come down to this a little bit in our little mini expedition.
साथी म आज घर जान्दिन है साथी म आज घर जान्दिन साथी म आज घर जान्दिन साथी तिम्रोमा ठाउँ छ कि छैन.
Do you want the guitar
I'm here
or
with
the...
Pasang Ramo. She's gonna take me up there. I don't know if I can make it, but I'm shitting my pants, I swear.
Don't be sad. Don't cry.
Be safe. At this point, all of my ideas about making this badass film about empowering women had entirely failed, every single thing. The only thing I had left to do was to give them the camera and watch them go off on their climb alone.
I think it is my first time being on the mountain with my Nepali friend, just two women.
Here we are, walking up to our little peak.
Whew. Oh, shit.
It looks like solid rock, but it's not. Pieces are just falling off all the time. So it's a pretty tricky route. At one point, the climbing just got harder and harder and things just got more trickier. It was really technical. No wonder no one's climbing this stuff. We're just stupid. Just came from down there. Ooh.
Hey sisters, we just want to check in. We can't see you. Want to see how you're doing.
I'm freezing my ass off.
Serena, we're not copying you.
Standing in a very precarious place.
त्यस्तो भयो भने बच्चा छोडेर जाने कुरा पनि आउँदैन नि हैन. अलिकति डर लाग्छ के.
My whole life I've gone against the grain. It's exhausting. But in the mountains there isn't any grain to go against. You're just there.
Serena was already worried about the climb. She has 2 kids to think about. I felt really responsible for her. That made me even more scared to be a mother someday.
at some point I was so scared, you know. I look up and it was like big overhang, so big. And I knew that we cannot climb this. Safe, let's slow down. Bit loose now. Okay, just try to find like a better place.
Right, and then that's when we decided to stop. It was exciting, it was frightening, it was lots of things. It was fun in some places. Never rock climbed like that before, that was something else. Wow.
The main goal is like safely coming down, which is very important. So the summit is like halfway, so we were able to make it safely back to base camp. So it was a successful expedition.
I wasn't disappointed at all. In fact, I mean, terrible things could have happened. But we just went out there. It probably was quite a badass thing to do.
Mountain never differences like either you're male, either you're female, like, either you're poor or rich, just okay.
Pasang will be a great mother. She told me actually that she has gained a lot more confidence in becoming a mother and having a family. If she can do this gnarly stuff, finding her way as a woman or as a mother should be no problem.
Because उहाँले अब कति कुरा छ नि केटी मान्छेले यो गर्नु हुँदैन त्यो कुराहरुले चाहिँ उहाँले चाहिँ तोड्दै छ के अनि यस्तो कुराले चाहिँ पछि आउने जेनेरेसन अगो केटीहरुलाई सजिलो हुन्छ नि
There's definitely an aspect of femininity in all of us that we are pressing and suppressing because we need to be badass all the time. And that part definitely missing in a lot of extreme sport. Like for me, badass does not necessarily mean doing crazy things. It means giving everybody a chance, just like Pasang gave me a chance and Ben gave me a chance to climb. Did you bring your earplugs?
What's going on? I'm Zach in Bellingham, Washington.
Zach in McCarthy, Alaska. Always wanted to make a ski movie with this guy. Hope you guys like it.
We've been ski buddies for basically ever. And we teamed up with Ben Sturgeluski. He made a film that was better than we could have hoped for. We love it. We hope you love it. Enjoy.
Thanks to all the homies.
Yeah, everybody that made it possible. Thank you.
Rolling. All right, this is Zach interview. Final interview, take one.
So what do you think about making a ski movie with no actual skiing in it? Because I think that's what this is about to be.
I think it's I think I don't want to watch a ski film without any skiing. That sounds boring. Can't believe Zach would even tolerate this.
This whole concept of wild abandon and living on the edge is getting harder for those of us who have that as an ideal. All the rules in the world right now, I think we should spend some time ignoring them. Just sneak off into the sunset and ski the Ridge of Dreams. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do to you because you got caught skiing? Are they gonna hang you? I don't think so. Are they gonna put you in jail? I doubt it. Somebody gonna be jealous that you did it and they didn't because they were afraid to break the rules? Yep. Somebody's gonna say, you dog. You went out there and ignored it and got it anyway.
I'm glad I'm not doing that for the first time.
Squirrely as
Well, just look at them. I mean, they're both pig-headed men. I mean, and they're both passionate about what they believe and believe in what they believe passionately. They're going to have lovely, juicy conflicts.
Well, here we go. Looks fine so far.
Not much could get Zach off of the trajectory he was on, but that particular image, that seemed to hook him. So who knows what he might be throwing away, but who knows what he'll find.
It's all starting here, Zach.
I know. Thank you, man. That's all I gotta say, man. I've waited so long for this. We're going north.
Ridge of Dreams, day 1, Zach Giffen interview, take 1, audio file 1, marker.
Ah! It's a real thing now.
What's a real thing?
The Ridge of Dreams, as far as I know, is a real thing. So this kind of legendary character, Sean Dog, was flying around in Alaska. He took one picture of this ridge, and it's been named the Ridge of Dreams. There's this incredible mountain range that no one has actually skied that is so far remote, and the challenges of getting there are so severe.
And I said, what? And he showed me photos of it, and I was like, that's nasty. We should go there. Let's go get a spare tire before we're on the side of the road.
We don't have everything figured out yet. We can't get guarantees on permits to even go to this place.
Like this, So we're gonna basically just send out a good vibe, and hopefully that'll work out good. And then we're just gonna do it. We're gonna make the logistics happen.
Building a toboggan right now.
Okay.
There, all you have to do is hit the red record.
Hit the red record.
We're Zach and Zach.
You are Zach. You are Zach.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Barrett has been my partner in crime. We have been the ski buddies since our early 20s.
You can drop here, and I'll film it. Just go for it. I got you, man.
This does not
Come on, tell me that doesn't look good.
The goal was always the same. Our goal was just bigger mountains and deeper snow, and we took 2 different routes to get there.
Skiing has been my life.
Hey, shit on that.
I've held jobs at the ski hill since I was in 8th grade. Ski patrol, terrain park, anything I could get my hands on to get a lift ticket and a place to stay.
Onward ho. In comparison with Zach Barrett, I'm basically a jock. I always tried to work in the professional field. I tried to actually work with photographers and thought that that was going to gain me access to these mountains, and really it did.
Yeah, I've always wanted to be in ski films since I was a little kid, and I thought, why not have Zach and I be in a movie together?
Yeah, rolled in basically on fumes. So many people, they feel like they've had friendships that have kind of come and gone, and people change over the years. Well, for whatever reason, we haven't changed.
I don't want to miss out on the unknown. There's a whole unknown world out there, and that's exciting. That's what's real. That's what's happening.
And that's the dream. That's the Ridge of Dreams for us. It's about making sure that we don't let this life slip us by.
Cool, you got a belt break on film.
Marker.
Snap.
Let's first start. Who are you?
Oh yeah, I'm Sean Dog. I live in Haines, Alaska, and I own this fabulous company called Alaska Heli Skiing.
How do you know Zach Geffen and Zach Barrett?
I have not met Zach Barrett and Zach Giffen prior to this week. These guys showed up in my front yard here and saw that I had a couple helicopters, so I stuffed them in, and now I think we're good buds. You got a theme for the interview, or any idea what you want me to touch on?
Well, we're going to talk about the Ridge of Dreams.
Ah, yes, the Ridge of Dreams. In their minds, it's a legend, you know? They have never seen it. They're just going on faith. And it's just one silly little iPhone picture, but you look at this photo and you just go, yeah, that's it. That's the Ridge. That's the Ridge of Dreams, because you could spend a lifetime there and never have to go anywhere else. There's a huge story around it in the last 7 years, and controversy and love, hate, fire, ice, everything's involved with this thing, and it does exist. The Ridge of Dreams does exist, and there's a picture to prove it.
Oh yeah, here we go, man.
I've been a fisherman my whole life, and I fly back and forth between here and the coast 10, 15 times a summer.
Punch it.
And on one of these flights...
Okay, now we're coming into Crazyville. The mountains just jack up around here.
I was fortunate enough to look behind me.
How am I doing here, Sean Dog? Oh, hey guys, you can see the little piece of the Ridge of Dreams poking in right now.
And there it was, this hidden gem in the middle of a vast expanse of ice.
That's the rig. Yeah, right. Oh God! Wow! Look at those spines.
An unbelievable mountain. And it seems to have spread this wildfire of desire. My dream became his dream, became that guy's dream, and pretty soon we had a dream tornado that turned into a dream storm about one thing that still in 7 years has not been touched.
What did I tell you, boys? Yeah, you were right, Every word Sean. was true.
And, you know, that's why we're all here, because of that one little silly photo I took from behind my back on the way to fish camp.
It's on. All of my doubts are gone.
It's as spectacular as I was ever hoping it could be. It really does have these elements skiers like myself and Zach have been searching for all our lives.
We actually saw the Ridge of Dreams. It's real. It's a real place. And we know where it is. And we're going there.
This scene is called The Plan. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Take one, sound sync, marker.
Here's the route that Zach and I found yesterday.
So the snowmobiles would just rally from here, get in, get to where the plane is, pick up all the stuff and you guys, and then bump camp from there.
No cameras allowed here.
I mean, that is a good point. The main thing I would worry
I'm
about
talking
is
about
like
the Park Service, like finding out and getting super
Maybe you guys should
upset.
just have the conversation, not on camera.
I mean, well, we're just trying to actually figure it out.
But yeah, let's cut.
Otherwise-
until this part of the combo is done.
Where were we? Oh, yes. The biggest challenge in skiing the Ridge of Dreams is now that the area has been turned into a park, it's made more rules that make it harder to get in there commercially.
You know, we're trying to make a film here, so we need film permits.
I mean, I think the permits are ridiculous.
There's not exactly an agreement between what the best strategy to go about getting that permission
It's
is.
hundreds of miles from any like borough or district or city or anything.
And for me, I feel like getting permission is totally paramount.
Basically, whatever he's got going on, I'm not sure if he's 100% down with what we're doing anymore.
Well, tomorrow I'm actually leaving because I have this job in Atlanta.
A commercial for
which seems totally crazy, and it is crazy.
That's basically what's happening, which is very unfortunate in multiple levels, but
that's what's gonna get us to the Ridge of Dreams, you know? We're just gonna do what it takes.
I'm in the moment right now, the golden window, the whole thing, the whole 9 yards, what you wait your whole life for to do.
And at least for me right now, that means fly to Atlanta, and then I'm gonna be back.
You don't wait a week or plan arbitrary dates or have imaginary boundaries get in your way from things like that. I honestly don't think it's out of reach to go out there. Honestly, like the Ridge of Dreams is right there.
I just need to tell you guys what I believe in from now on. Zach needs to know what I believe in. We need to just, I'm going full belief status because now it's like almost a myth that we're even doing anything. And basically I can't handle that and I'm just gonna go send. So that's what I'm doing. Period. Or ...
Even though I had wanted to have like a real ski segment finally, I think that money and other things get in the way of dreams. And that's what's happening right now as he flies away. People waste their whole lives trying to do this stuff. It's not a good idea. Yeah, bud.
Yeah, bud.
Yeah, we need to just go shred.
Just go shred it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for fun. That's what I'm saying. Fun. Shred it for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much trouble can you get in for having fun?
Yeah, not much, right?
God, I hope not. The whole world is in trouble. You know, Baron, he's a wild man. He's a wild Alaskan brother. And I can relate to his way of thinking, you know.
My great-grandfather has a homestead in Alaska that he walked to in 1898. And so for me personally, I kind of vibe off of him, and that's my main mentor, even though I never met the man.
Jennifer, you are cuckoo crazy, little girl. Look at that mom of yours. She is a lumberjill. We are Alaskans. We view things with an Alaskan perspective. You should wear some tough pants so you don't skin up your knees.
I like no pants.
Our view of the mountains is different. You know, we don't see limitations, we see opportunities.
What is the Ridge of Dreams, Jennifer?
Straight as a mountain.
To always be able to bank back and say, well, Grandpa walked 200 miles and didn't complain about it. I can do the same thing. Has always been a great thing for my life.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
I see life basically the same way that he did, which is that I want to roam the hills.
I'm going to do the Ridge of Dreams.
Okay, awesome.
AK Factor 5 in full effect.
Oh my God, I would almost call it a complete red flag scenario, possibly even a black flag.
Arr. That's more like it.
We've exploded all of our shit. We've got oil for the snowmobiles, generators, cook sets, barbecue, pads, sleeping bags, skis, snowboards. Everybody's got their stuff dialed. We're feeling pretty stoked, but it's time to do something pretty soon because it's pretty overwhelming just chilling.
And now the party begins.
What do you think Zach's doing right now? Okay, so Zach's probably doing something that's like very boring and nerdy and geeky even.
That's the most perfect nail I've ever seen. What do you?
Awesome.
Nailed it. Cut.
Nailed it.
He's basically on a paper route trying to get money.
So I've been a skier basically all my life, and I started being a carpenter in order to facilitate all of that. I started building tiny houses, and it turned into this big thing, and I got hired onto a TV show.
So that's cool, but it's still kind of weird that he's not here shredding POW. We could have been at Ridge of Dreams today.
This is all part of making it happen. And he's back in Alaska. I know he's, basically threatening to go out there and hit it without me, which is so ridiculous to me because what I've done has enabled us to be able to do this.
He's like telling me like how old he feels. Like I just don't understand. I can't identify with that lifestyle.
My life is skiing, and it's no different now. It's just that, I find myself further and further from the mountains that I'm trying to get back to. It's
Forgiven?
Thank you. Green, perfect.
I live like the rich and famous, and I'm not rich or famous.
Yeah, this is gonna burn pretty good.
Fist bump.
taste of wild abandon, and living on the edge is getting harder for those of us who have that as an ideal. You know, I don't want to see the Ridge of Dreams lose its soul, because it is the most soulful piece of mountain that I've ever seen. You know, everybody wants it so bad. And I think that the people that are going to get it are going to be the people that are doing it for the right reason. Not necessarily for profit, not necessarily for anything other than the love of skiing and you know, the soul of it. Hopefully.
Doing Ridge of Dreams or the film or everything about it is what we always wanted as kids. And then the money showed up and the pressure was on about film crews and cameras, and you're not doing it for your actual dream. I just realized that I don't really care about being in a ski movie as much as I thought, and that it doesn't even matter, any of it. Take a dip in the river like your grandpa did, you know? That's what I want with my life.
I mean, in my mind, when I left, it was going to be 2 days, but really it was about 4. And I guess I shouldn't be super surprised to come back and Zach has like completely lost it. I have no idea. He probably was just, I don't know, freaking out at all times about getting out there. And I think our issues with permits and stuff, the fact that we haven't had our permit come through yet, we don't know if it's actually going to or not, really puts into question whether or not we should be so set on one location. And I feel like Zach Baird's not going to want to hear that.
Right, Ridge of Dreams. This scene is Zach's rearrival news. Take 1, audio sync, marker.
Actually, I mean, I pretty much have good news and good news. Basically, we're riding out today with your snowmobile and my snowmobile out to the Ridge of Dreams today.
Well, I mean, listen, like, yeah, we've been planning on this. We put so much into it. We're like kind of methodically going about making sure that this happens. And it's actually not a surprise to me that Zach just wants to go.
That's what I do with my life. Like, it's like asking me to not be myself to do anything else, and you know that.
So we're just gonna say fuck it to film permits and...
That's not how we roll up here. This is north. North of permit areas.
I never completely trust him to be anything other than himself. And so it all works as long as, like, I'm not surprised by this shit. That's what makes it work. You know, when you have good friends, you have to accept all the aspects to them. You know, that's why I love them and that's why I hate them.
I mean, yeah, sure, I'd consider myself a rogue operator from time to time, but I pretty much know what I'm doing, I think, for the most part. I mean, who knows? Nobody really knows anything much. I mean...
All right, Zach, final interview. You only get so many chances in this life to pull off something exceptional. One thing that I can tell you I've learned from Zach over the years is this thought that when the world tries to shut you down, you dig in your heels, and there's always a loophole, there's always a way to make your dreams work out. The permit is only required if what we're trying to do is make a film. So if we're gonna go out there, we gotta leave the cameras behind. Maybe the world is telling us that it's not about filming it, it's about doing it for yourself. I don't really think the dream has changed. I mean, the dream is about the experience, you know. I hate to be cliche about this, but you know, the whole goal and the...
Hey, do you have a pot or a pan or anything?
No.
Okay.
The dream has shifted a little bit, but the dream was always pretty loose. Even in the face of stupidity, you keep going. And I think that's kind of where we're at. I said, are you really going to try to charge across the river with this?
Yeah.
Completely loaded.
Yeah.
If somebody is sleeping out there in
a wet sleeping bag won't be me. Okay. I guess there is a chance that we're like gonna have a major problem and get out there and get stranded and get snowed on and get, you know, there's always that chance when you go into the mountains, especially if you're going on a major expedition. But yeah, you just don't know until you don't go. Wait, did I say that right?
You don't know until you go.
And for him to ride off into the sunset is ignoring the constraints that keep you from actually achieving your dreams and living a life of freedom. I feel like Zach and I really are kind of one and the same, but we're almost like two sides of somebody's personality, and we have very different ideas about how to get somewhere, but we have very similar ideas about where it is that we're trying to go.
Doggy snapping, that is the dream. Forget about the movie. Just sneak off into the sunset and ski the Ridge of Dreams.
Hopefully he's been inspired a little bit by what I've done and how I live, and you know, maybe we're just pulling from each other's positives, or maybe we're just helping each other go down a wormhole of debauchery. One of the two.
Not much could get Zach off of the trajectory he was on, but that particular image, that seemed to hook him. So, who knows what he might be throwing away, but who knows what he'll find.
You dog. You went out there and ignored it and got it anyway.
You could say, that's a wrap.
That's rad.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
That's rad.
That's a wrap.
Here, you try it. That's a wrap.
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 That's right. That's a wrap.
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 That's a wrap.